Hello everyone, welcome back to Governminute. So glad you could join us. I'm starting a new segment today that I hope to be doing periodically as ideas come in, and maybe you give me ideas. That'd be great. It's called Governminute Solutions. I think there are ways we can improve on several things, how we do in this country, how we do things in this country, both politically, economically, etc. And we'll be talking about those things periodically. Governminute Solutions starts right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to Governminute, Minutes That Matter. This is Mr. A welcoming you to another edition of Governminute, a slightly different edition tonight. It is called Governminute Solutions. Ideas on how we can improve on things in this country, politically, economically, etc. We'll be talking about that. But first, as always, this video is dedicated to the glory of God who blessed this land. So I want to talk to you today about our nominating process, okay? This is done by the parties, but it's long, it's cumbersome, and it's very expensive and time-consuming. Okay, it's like the playoffs in football. Okay, the AFC has to play among themselves to get their champion. NFC has to play among themselves to get their champion, and these two go to the Super Bowl and play for the ultimate championship. Democrats fight among themselves to get one nominee. Republicans fight among themselves to get one nominee, and those two meet in the general election for the actual job. That's called the nominating elections. I have a video about it if you want to look that up and check that out. And so it's called the nominating elections. There are caucuses and primaries, and all that's covered in nominating elections on this channel. All right, so in 2024, this year, the nominating process, the process by which parties, members of each party compete for their party's nomination, started in Iowa on January 15th. Okay, it took 20 weeks to complete them all, and finally ended on June 8th. 20 weeks. And here's the main part that's hardly anyone talks about. Usually by the middle of March, toward the end of March, there's no options available for anyone else, for any states having their nominating election after that. By that time, a huge number of states have already voted, and people have dropped out because of lack of money, lack of support. So by the end, they finish, and there's no options left for these voters. And so what I propose is this. Right now, Iowa goes first. They have the First in the Nation caucus in January, toward the middle or end of January. And then New Hampshire's after that, and then it goes on to South Carolina, et cetera, et cetera. I also went over this in another video, all the different calendar of all the different caucuses and primaries, so you can look that up as well. But it's some Tuesdays have one or two states, some have 13, 14 states. So it's very uneven, and it's very and it's not fair to the states at the very end, because most of the time there's no other option. Everyone else has dropped out or suspended their campaign. In other words, they're not going to make it, but they're not dropping out. They're just going to suspend their campaign. So I have a solution, a Governminute solution. All right, let's go to the map, and you can follow along as I tell you how this would work. As you see on the map, the nation is divided into 10 different sections by color, and I've gone ahead and numbered these states 1 through 10. There's also an 11th category, which are the U.S. territories. While they're not states, they do vote in nominating elections. Okay, they don't vote in presidential elections, but they vote in nominating elections. So that would be the 11th week. So this would be an 11-week period in which every state would have a chance or an opportunity to go first, second, third, fourth, fifth, depending on the year. So let's say that Group 1, which is Washington, Oregon, California, Alaska, and Hawaii. That's Group 1. So in 2028, that group would go first. They would vote first the first Tuesday of the nominating election process. That group would go first. Then the second group, which was Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico, would go second the following Tuesday. The next week, Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, and South Dakota would go third, and so on until we get to the 10th grouping, and that would be all the states plus the District of Columbia. So that 10th group would include 5 states plus the District of Columbia, because they are U.S. citizens. And so that would be the 10 weeks. On the 11th week, that would be all the U.S. territories and other miscellaneous votes for president and vice president for the nominating process. Now, all of a sudden you see that Iowa and New Hampshire aren't first. Colorado, Washington, Oregon, Alaska, and Hawaii are. And then second, third, fourth, fifth. The following year, that would be 2032, the group that went second last time would go first, third would go second, fourth would go third, etc. So everyone moves up one, except the number one group in 2028, and they would go last. They would go to fifth. And in the following presidential election cycle, group 3 would go first, group 4 would go second, group 5 would go third, etc., etc. So basically, you move up every time there's nominating elections. You move up one from last time. When you were number 1, the next one you go down to number 5. Again, the territories are always number 6 because they aren't states, but the territories would always be number 6. So we would finish this whole process in not 20 weeks like we have in 2024, but in 11 weeks. It would give other areas of the country a chance to have more of an influence on who becomes the nominee. Because right now, the Democrats and Republicans have to appeal to Iowa. Not that that's a bad thing, Iowa. I'm just saying, is it fair that y'all always go first? And then New Hampshire is second. And so if they don't appeal to these states, the chances of them surviving to get to, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Wyoming is not very good. And so these other states, a lot of other states have no say-so who becomes the nominees. I think it would be fairer. I think it would be more orderly. It'd be less expensive. It would be very compact. The time frame and the general area in where they're campaigning would all be pretty compact. And so I think this is a great solution to spread the influence of the states around and to allow some of the candidates to have a life beyond Iowa and New Hampshire, and then some of them have to drop out. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and let me know what other Governminute solutions we can talk about on this channel when we do a Governminute solutions video. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you paid attention because there will be a test at the next election. This is Mr. Ray reminding you that we, the people, are the government. We'll see you next time.